welcome to another episode of the Unfinished Podcast. With me today is Camden Pascoe, who you work for the...
I work for BYNOE CACs.
Yep. And can you tell me a bit about BYNOE and the different things it does out here? Yeah.
So BYNOE started, my grandfather and a few others around these era started BYNOE with the hopes of, well, he didn't start, he was one of the guys there, and there was a group of about a dozen of them. And they had a problem getting housing in Normanton. So BYNOE as an organisation started as just an housing organisation, wanting to get housing for Indigenous locals. And then over the last 30, 40 years it's grown. We now have contracts with Cdp. So we're a CDP provider, which is where I'm employed. I'm coordinator for projects and activities.
Yep.
And we look after, I enjoy doing the projects in town, seeing benefits for like sporting groups or local groups. We do like the rodeo grounds, bar and school yarning circles.
Okay.
Nice jobs like that to boring jobs where we're doing fencing around dams and stuff like that. So CDP is one under the umbrella of BYNOE.
And so, Camden, what does CDP stand for?
Community Development Program.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that's we've got 200 people on our books for participants. So that's your work for the doll activity.
Yep.
So we upskill them. My big aim for CDP was trying to provide good activities so people are doing stuff on a regular basis, but also just upskilling them with certificates and courses and trying to get them jobs. That's one of the better things in the job is John Bob over here hasn't had a license for a while.
Yep.
And working with him to get his license, and then this one fella has never I think he's 33, never had a license, and when he got his learners, he sprinted with happiness.
Yeah, right.
Like he was so happy, and he could drive a car. So there's like upskilling people and just giving them things that they haven't really had. So licenses, IDs, birth certificates.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are enjoyable. And then the community projects. So doing the yarning circle at the school. So we've got a good team up at BYNOE. We do that and all these other activities as well. So, and then they also have different other contracts. Contract for council that cuts all the parks and gardens in the street.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, and get kids to school with FACE and RASAS. There's family and community engagement.
Okay. Yep.
And rural skills attendance scheme.
Gotcha.
So that's FACE and RASAS. So they do a good job working with kids. So and also in the old people's home. So BYNOE works with kids, adults, and elders. So sort of everywhere in the community. We're a community organisation. So
fantastic. Yeah. And we obviously met. I went out to the camp with a bunch of sort of, I guess, pre-teens they mostly were. And was that a BYNOE organised camp, or there was a... Yep. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
So that came under FACE,
Yep.
Family and Community Engagement.
Gotcha.
So they're trying this new thing where trying to reward the kids, but instead of... Because we tried an era like giving them gifts and stuff like that, and the novelty wore off, but we find that with the kids, doing stuff with them, spending time with them is what they really want and what they really need.
Yeah.
So they did well at school, or if they improved at school from where they were, then we'd reward them with this cultural trip that we did.
Right, I see. Yeah, okay, cool. And I met a number of the adults involved there, and I was saying to Jake, my brother, on the way home, talking about yourself, but everyone there, and including my brother, about what caring and giving people you all are. I was really kind of
Thank you.
blown away and really moved by how much everyone is just wanting to, especially in that situation, help the younger generation to succeed, and and everyone seems really strongly motivated to just give everyone the best possible chance.
Well, we grew up in this community, like the struggles. Every generation has a different struggle. For these kids, it could be boredom and stuff. I was fortunate enough when I was a kid. I had our big family group would spend every weekend out bush.
Yeah.
And we came in for school. The kids nowadays, they love their phones and their technology and stuff. So it's enjoyable to try to put your phones down. Let's go back out on country. We buy the fish hole. And they made a mudslide down the riverbank. The smiles on their faces, seeing them dance. It was a very happy weekend. And just sitting under a tree and just felt a bit like inner peace. It's really, really nice.
Beautiful. I also you shared with me and Jay your family's camp out there that you sort of go to almost every weekend. You said, or quite often.
Yeah, quite often we go out. It's Maraval, out on our land, Kudicha. So it's on the Smithburn River. There's like our little family's camp, and then there's another family camp, and then the other end on the other side. We spend most of our weekends out there. Like my grandmother grew up at that side, on that land. We were hoping that, as a Kudicha man, we have a tribe here called KAC.
Okay.
And we were hoping that each family can have their own homelands that they can call theirs. And go out and live and be one with their land. So that's our goal. At the moment we're not quite there, but it's a good start. Because we spend most weekends out there. My father almost every weekend.
Yeah, okay.
He loves it out there. I think he only comes in just to work.
Yeah.
So it's very nice. It's a good time to go spend with family. We go fishing and hunting and swimming.
Yeah.
Quite nice.
No, that was really clear to me then, and now how important that is to you, and how much value that has, just everyone being together. And and I see that reflected in the camp with the kids that we went to too. Is that something that most Indigenous families are having out here, or do you feel fortunate that that's something that you've had, or does not everyone have the land to do that?
Not everyone.
What's the situation?
There's 3 tribes around Normanton, and we're fortunate that on our side, Kudicha, we had the land given back to us when I was a kid, and we run Delta Dam Station as a business. So we're one of those unique, tribes where we own the land, we run a business, and we have a say what goes on in our country. Some of the stations on this side of the river that have been bought, they're not as flexible with allowing people to go out and live on country.
And they're not owned by the original Indigenous people.
So there's native title claims that are happening currently. So we're hoping once that's all sorted, then our people, Kutan, Kukach, Kudicha, will have better say on where they can go and what they can do on their country. Of course, our grandparents lived out on those countries, and then they were forced back into Normanton. My grandmother lived out Kudicha on our tribe, and then was brought here as a little girl and forced to live up at the reserve. So that was, their generation, and we're just trying to get back out there and live off the land.
And you said that's just happened when you were a child, is that the native title was given back to
you? For our tribe, the native title was given back to us, so we were, quite I guess, lucky because we got it back in, well, me as a young boy, we were quite lucky that we could go out and spend that time out on country because for some of our neighbouring tribes, you know, they're still fighting that battle today.
Yeah. And do you see that, my brother being a teacher here, I know there's like a lot of difficult situations for a lot of his students. Is there, do you see I guess what I'm going to, because what you've shared with me of what your life is, there's a really strong connection to family, and obviously part of that is the strong connection to land, which is different to, you know, what I've heard from Jake about, you know, other families.
Yeah.
And I guess what I'm trying to ask is, do you see a correlation there between the family being united and having a foundation, and then the physical land being there as well?
Yeah. Look, there are some families here, might not be as structurally sound as, you know, like the one I grew up in, and that has had a big impact on the person I've become. A lot of kids may not have that nowadays, whether there's certain troubles at home and you know, what their parents are going through or grandparents are going through. There is dysfunction there, and a lot of these kids have, you know, are working with them to try and get them to be a good man or woman or good you know, person in the community when they grow up. We've spent the last 10 years, well, I've been in Normanton the last 8 years. I grew up here but moved away for school and then come back. So my working life the last 8 years, we've tried numerous strategies to try and get the kids to become as good adults or good young people as they possibly can. I was a youth worker with PCYC, managed a sports centre. Now I'm up at CDP, so I'm working with a lot of the kids that I looked after 8 years ago. Now they're adults. We're just trying to give them the best, I guess, start in life. It's a bit hard when like the trauma from my grandmother's generation is sort of just come to light now.
Yeah.
So it's passed on to my auntie's father's generation and now on to us. And I guess we're at that stage where we're trying to reclaim our lands and get a bit more connection. Because some kids don't have that connection, and I think that's that and the trauma of, you know, from the stolen generation onward.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of people that will drink and you know, struggling at home and stuff like that. And those are traumas that, you know, started 3 generations ago, and it's ongoing. So, look, we're at a special stage in I think our lives, because we're going through the native titles for the 3 groups here. I think once that all finalised and good, I think, and people can then connect with country, go back to healing, spending time with family, I think that'd be good for their mind, body and soul, and hopefully our kids will then prosper a little bit better.
That's beautiful. That's really well said. And I think that's a really really important point that you make too about the trauma of previous generations. And you sort of shared with me, your grandmother was part of the stolen generation, brought away from her land here to Normanton. Yeah. But then also the people who were left there, who weren't taken, were massacred there. And
they're sad times in history there. Like I've explained to you, I've got because I teach language at schools with my grandmother and Nana Edie. They're 2 of the last 3 speakers, so we wanted to teach at the school language. They're my libraries, you know, so I'm just there to structure the classes, and they're all the knowledge. It's been a good experience, but yeah, one of the resources I found was a story of Kurja stories, and one old fella passed away last year, old fella Beasley. He speaks in language and then they translate it to English, and he would have been a young fella when this happened. He tells a story about a place we call Wamaki, out on our lands, and he speaks about how the boss, the white fella at the time, was going around shooting all of our ancestors, our people that were left out on country that did not want to come into the reserve. So they were all massacred. He talks about a story of they form half a circle because they didn't want to shoot each other. So that's what the boss said, form half a circle, we'll round up these people and we'll shoot them. And it's a sad time in history. Not too many people speak about it, like my grandmothers and that there, because that's one of few massacres that happened on country. I couldn't comprehend that, who I am at the moment and where we sit in our lives. So I couldn't comprehend what was going through his head when it all happened.
Yeah.
But that was hard hitting when I read that. It made my hair stand up. It was like, it gave me goosebumps. It's
the effects of that are incomprehensible to me, but like the obviously the repercussions of that. I mean, there's the fight to get the land back and for rights and all those kinds of things, but then the healing process of that and gathering.
Yep.
I guess everyone's. I don't know what.
It's amazing when my grandmother and all her siblings and all their children, and we'd all come together and we'd spend 3 days at bush. It was just amazing, and we don't have that now. A lot of my grandparents have passed. Some aunties and uncles aren't here. They moved for work, so it's a bit different nowadays. But having that as a kid was amazing, and that's all what I want for my kids and my nephews and nieces.
You got a little 5-year-old boy?
Yep. Yeah, 5-year-old boy, Camden Jr.
Yeah.
He's a menace.
Yep.
A lot of people confuse that with cute, but he's good. He's on school holidays at the moment, so I'm missing him quite a lot. But I don't know what to do with my spare time now with 1 week by myself. So it's fishing and cleaning and gardening.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And you are just going back to going out to the land there and the camping there. Is that is still going on, and you're bringing your kids there, and so that is going to continue. And
we want to. I want to continue that for my son. I want my sisters and brothers to do that with their children, which they do. It's just it can get a lot with everyone working, and then you get your weekends off. But in a small town like Normanton, if there's events on, which there are quite often, everyone just gets busy with, I got to go to the rodeo, or there's a fishing comp on, or there's a concert on like this weekend. So there's always sort of one thing on, and so we don't go out as often, like every weekend like we used to, but every couple of weekends I'll get my big sister and little brothers and say, all right, we're going out camping this weekend, and we'll pack up on Friday and head out.
Awesome. And do they have kids?
Sister's got three little ones, 2 boys, 1 girl.
Cool.
And little brother's got 1 boy, and he raised another boy and a girl that he calls his son. So there's all of them, and then I've got a younger sister and a younger brother. She's 21, he's 15.
Okay.
So,
yeah. And they get out there as well.
yeah.
Cool. Hey Camden, thanks so much for talking with me. I want to just finish, because the podcast is all about work-life balance. I want to just kind of just ask you to tell me how you manage to balance. Like obviously with BYNOE you've got a lot of different responsibilities and a lot of different projects that go on. Jay pointed out to me too, a lot of the work that you do with that is about spending time and just talking with people, about making connections and increasing connections around the community. And then, with your son and then with your larger family, and obviously like the... do you sit on the board then at BYNOE or at the...
So yeah, I sit on the BYNOE board.
Yeah.
My old man, Fred, sits on the school board.
Right, okay,
So,
gotcha.
At Gulf Christian College.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I love my work.
Yeah.
But I have to switch it off when I get home. It's hard some days, and some days it's easy. Look, I wear a couple of hats. I am so CDP coordinator, so I look after activities, and then the language teacher with my two nans. So I try to. I'll finish work at 4 o'clock. I'll go home and I'll spend half an hour where I'll just sort of sit on the veranda and under a tree and just sort of declutter my mind from work.
Yeah.
Work out what I need to focus on the next day or the coming week, and then just sort of like, all right, that's what I need to do, so I'll do that tomorrow when I get into work. And then I'll go help my son with my own work, or I would attempt to, and then my missus will say that I'm doing it wrong, so she would do it. But she's amazing. She's done such an amazing job raising my son. I couldn't help for ask a better mother. She's so good. And then, like coronavirus has given us our struggles, but it's also helped us with finding happiness at home. As in, you don't have to always go to the park or go to the pub or go to friends' house and stuff like that. You could do stuff at home.
Yeah.
So I've started garden beds with my son and partner. So we've got 3 there, and we grow cherries and chilies and basil, parsley, and all this different stuff.
Awesome.
So we spend that in the afternoon, like after the homework, and then it's dinner time. Read a story, and then we're all in bed, probably by about 8:30.
Yeah.
And I'll look forward to those afternoons with family between 4 and 8. I know it's a very short amount of time, but those are the good parts of the day.
Yeah.
In saying that, I do enjoy still helping everyone at work, but that's, like I said, I try to get my balance right with work, going home, spending time with family, and then on the weekends trying to catch up with the wider family. My father, well, I see him at work, but actually like have conversations with him that aren't work related.
Sure. Yeah.
Ask him how he's going, go sit down with him. I might have a beer with him some afternoons or weekends. Go pop by my sister's place. Yeah, she's doing. So just spending a bit of time with them on the weekends while we go camping.
Cool. Well, it seems like you're doing a pretty good job of getting that balance. And
trying. It took a long time.
Yeah.
I used to be all work, and I'd come home stressed, and it didn't really help.
Yeah.
And then I'd go back to work, and then I'd stress, and then I'd bring that stress home.
Yeah.
So we've worked on it. It's been been a while coming, where we've actually had to figure out, all right, what works for us raising our child, and what works for me and my partner, our own personal growth and peace.
Sure. Yeah. What you said about coronavirus too. I think a lot of families got to experience that of just being forced to stay together and suddenly going, look at the wealth that we have here in each other. Yeah.
Then it's sort of like you re-pick up, what are your interests again?
Yeah,
that's right. So me and my partner, we've been playing cards a lot.
Nice. Yep.
So that's been very good. So the banter is real.
Yeah.
When it comes to playing cards with her, but that's one thing we've enjoyed as a couple. We'll put on yoga on TV, which was we didn't think my son would take to that.
Yeah.
But there's kids yoga on YouTube.
Yeah.
So he goes over for an hour and he does that. And
Fantastic. I'm going to check that out.
yeah, it's so cool. They do like Frozen, like they do a different
Oh,
theme.
yeah. Excellent.
And then the Spider-Man one's a more difficult one because so he likes that, and then we go and play cards on the table, and that's sort of our downtime.
Nice. And I have to ask, because we love board games, my wife and I, and cards as well. We've been playing 500 a lot. What games do you play?
Wow, we play this game called Coon Can.
Okay.
Or if we play with Jake and Sarah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
About every Friday. We've missed the last 3 Fridays, so
right, okay.
It's been a bit, oh, what are we doing? But most Fridays we'll play with Jake and Sarah. We will play a game called Jaru, and it's a partners game, so it's Jake and I versus the 2 girls.
Okay, yeah.
And the banter increases.
I can imagine. Yeah, cool.
But that's the Friday afternoons with Jake and Sarah. Highlights of the week. That's what we look forward to. Like cards on Friday. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. I think I might wrap it up there.
Yep.
Hey, thank you so much for talking with me. This is the first ever recorded podcast. I'll let you know when I put it up there.
I'll probably cringe at the sound of my voice.
I think I will too.
But no, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me be a part of the first podcast with you, Kris.
Cool.
Thank you.
Alright, that's recorded. So, first up, I hope the audio's okay.
Yeah, the wind might.
Yeah. I'm doing something like this. To that or not?
Why not? Yeah, a bit of wind.
So I haven't done this before at all. This is my actual first one. I had the idea.
Me too.
All right. Cool. Awesome. All right. So I'm just going to go for it and see how we go.
Yep.
Cool.